Joining me today is one of the top-ranked recruits in the entire country. He has quite the resume as he's a McDonald's All-American. He also is one of the highest-ranked commits, including the second highest-ranked commit in Louisville basketball history, a consensus five-star recruit. That's Mikel Brown Jr. Mikel, appreciate you taking time to come on today, man.
Thank you for allowing me to come on the stage.
Absolutely, man. Well, first things first, I know we just talked a little bit about it backstage, but you just graduated. What's going through your mind? How does it feel to be graduated now?
It feels amazing. The relief of not having to deal with high school schoolwork anymore is
Right.
great, but I know once I get into college, I got to get right back into that mode. But it's kind of surreal just to go back on the memories that I had all 4 years. And every single year I learned something new. So
Mm.
it was a blessing.
You also just had big news that you're going to be a part of the Team USA selection. Obviously, you still have to go through training camp and those things. And that's also coming off the back end of going through all these different showcases, whether it be McDonald's All American, all these different components. How busy has life been over the past few weeks, past month now, I should say, even?
It's been very busy, but you got to get acclimated to this type of lifestyle
Right.
if you know you want to make it to the highest level of this game. You're gonna be moving around a lot. You see the pros, they fly in, fly out, and play a game.
Mm.
They go on road trips the whole week. They don't come home. So, me getting used to it now, definitely will help me, and I think will help me when I get there. So, but I've been very busy, and I've been trying to. And the funny thing is, I've been trying to catch my little sister and my little brother's games.
Right.
I try to be present much as I can because I know once I get to college and once I get to the pros, my time is gone pretty
Right.
much. So
Well, I want to get into some of these things, and actually, that's a great start to start off with. 'Cause I want people to get to know you better, and there's no way better to start off than talking about your family. I watched some of your different shows on your YouTube channel, and you can just tell that your family has a great connection. There's a great relationship there, starting from obviously your mom and dad, working its way down to you guys. Can you take us to just growing up with your siblings, with your parents? How great was that with them being in your lives?
it's great because unfortunately, you don't see a lot of these kids have both of their parents in their life. So I'm very
Right.
blessed to have both of them in my life.
Hmm.
Both of them teach me life lessons every single day. They keep me on my toes and my brothers and my sisters' toes. So them just being around and trying to make every single event really means a lot to me,
Hmm.
and I don't take it for granted because they could be somewhere else, working their behind off, but they come support me and watch me play or come in an event that I'm doing just to support. So um, it definitely is truly a blessing to have them in my life.
As for your dad, he played basketball in college, and that you could tell that he knows the game of basketball quite well because, like I said, in one of those YouTube videos, you guys were breaking down film and going into that. Having somebody that knows how to play basketball, that has had that influence and role in your life, how big has that been for you?
That has been arguably the biggest, you know, thing in my basketball career, in my basketball life.
Mm.
He's been an agent, he's trained it, he's played it, he's
Mm.
coached it, he is still coaching and training. So the knowledge that he has is amazing. And I just learn from him more and more every single day and just try to stay consistent, try to stay consistent within what he is teaching me. He
Right.
teaches a lot, so I have to
Hmm.
pick up on stuff quick. So I think it's a lot of learning curves, but I think as long as I stay consistent with it, I'll be fine.
What would you say has been the biggest lesson that he's taught you? I know he says a lot of things, but what's the biggest thing you'd say he's taught you?
It doesn't take you anything to be a good person, but it can cost you everything to be a bad person.
Hmm.
So he's really big on character, how you present yourself, carrying yourself in class, being professional, saying thank you, saying no thank you,
Right.
yes ma'am, no ma'am, just out of respect. He always teaches respect. So I'll just probably have to say that quote that he gives me, and he tells me almost every single day. So um, yeah, pretty
I
much.
love that. I think you've obviously carried that over into your life. And what's unique about that, as we just talked about, he's obviously has a great basketball mind. He's helped you with the business side of it. He's helped you with on the court. But to teach you about character is obviously a huge thing. And like you said, that's going to last you longer than basketball. Obviously, one day the ball is going to stop bouncing. and you prioritized who you are outside of basketball. That's a huge thing. And so I want to take you for that aspect. What's kept you humble? Because you've grown down to this person, like I said, second highest ranked commit recruit in all Louisville basketball history. You are a consistent 5-star, McDonald's All American. What's kept you so grounded and humble?
Um, One, my family, because they keep me level headed, and
Right.
two, just to know I'm telling myself like I haven't done nothing. Like I've
Mm,
done something on the high school level, but
right.
like as I move up into the levels, like I have to prove myself again and again.
Mm,
So I don't look at it as, oh, I accomplished this and that. No, I'm looking at what can I accomplish the next? Like what's the next thing?
love it.
And that's what keeps me leveled and just keeps my head down. And I just continue to work to strive to my main goal. And when I
Mm.
get to my main goal, hit another new goal. So that's what keeps me grounded.
I love that answer, man. Well, let's get into the high school career because although obviously, like you said, you still have big goals, you've had quite the high school career. And I want to ask about this because, first of all, though, in terms of basketball, has basketball always been the passion you've wanted to pursue? Did you play other sports, or what was it about basketball that really drew you into it?
I've played baseball, but like in like second grade.
Okay, sure.
But my heart has always been in basketball ever since I came out my mama's stomach.
All
My
right.
dad was on the court in college already playing, so he'll
Mhm.
take me to his practice. I'll be on the sideline. He'll just throw me a basketball, and I'll just run around with it all day while he's practicing.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that's where the love really started, to grow. Watching him play in college,
Okay.
watching him play pickup,
Mhm.
um, just really drew my love and my passion to play that game, to play this game, and just have fun with it. So I think that grew at a very young age, and it's carried me to what I am today.
If I were to happen to have known you, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, you're in middle school, getting ready to go to high school, and I would have told you that by the end of your high school career, you're going to be a McDonald's All American, have a chance to play for Team USA again after already winning gold medal, accomplish all these things that you've already accomplished. What would your reaction have been?
That's a tough one. Uh, those are my goals from the jump, from the get go,
Right.
because I always watched the McDonald's game. I've
Exactly.
always
Yep.
watched the Nike Hoop Summit game and watched these high schoolers go up in the ranks.
Hmm.
Um, but I already had that confidence, and my dad and my mom instilled that confidence. Like, we're gonna get you to that level. You're
Hmm.
gonna accomplish your goals. So I already had my mind made up that I was gonna be at that level,
Okay.
and I carried myself in class with it. Obviously, like I told you before,
Hmm.
just staying professional about it, and just keeping my head down at work, because if you can outwork any situation. I feel like
Hmm.
you can outwork any situation, and God has the good coming for you. He will reward you for the hard work and the hardships that you go through.
Amen.
So I think that was the biggest thing, was just keep my head down and stay working, and I just keep hitting levels and keep hitting goals.
I know we kind of talked about a little bit ago, but the huge thing about you is, like you said, so many kids will get distracted. Even though your first rankings come out, heading into sophomore year, guys get ranked 5 stars, and so often we've seen guys that are ranked super high fall back. And I think some of that could be for many reasons, but one of them is that people do get too carried away with accolades, awards, and whatnot. And what I've heard from you is what I feel like is you want to go play in college. I'm sure you have college goals, but I think your dreams are even beyond that. You want to make NBA, probably accomplish a lot in the NBA. As you evaluate that, and let's say you get the McDonald's All American award, what key to the point where you say, you know what, this is great. I'm probably going to celebrate tonight. I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to be a great experience. But I know that I'm looking at, 10, 15 years down the road. How do you stay so motivated and locked in, not allow these big things and big accolades to get you kind of distracted?
Because I just know where the road ends, if
Hmm.
you would say.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, yes, my goal is to play in the NBA, but there's a lot of people that have made the NBA but never stayed.
Right.
So, watching how other people go through the process and how they weed themselves out,
Hmm.
my dad and my mom and myself has watched it happen with a lot of players, and we just constantly say like, hey, we ain't done nothing. I haven't done nothing yet. I haven't done
Hmm.
nothing. So like I said, once I step foot on that college campus next week,
Yep.
I haven't done nothing. I
Mm.
have to prove myself again and again.
Hmm.
So that's the mindset of me going into college and then in the future in the pros.
I love it, man. Well, let's hop into your high school career a little bit deeper now because you start off obviously growing up in Orlando. You go out there and you start your career off how to learn a Christian prep, but you make an interesting move. Then you go to overtime then for a year or two. Walk us through that transition. What led you to say, you know what, I want to make the transition over to overtime elite? Why'd you make that decision?
Just based off of every game is gonna be a battle.
Right.
Um, Almost everybody in that building that year went high major or mid major.
Yeah.
So coming into every single game, you have to be locked in. And I learned a lot as I was an upperclassman, I was a junior, but I was still learning.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some, my two teammates who were Brazilians, they played professionally.
Mm-hmm.
So they had professional experience. Um, they had a lot of post grad guys.
Yeah.
So getting used to that physicality definitely helped me a lot. Um, to where I am now. So, I mean, definitely the competition. I just enjoyed playing against those guys every single day.
And then you made the move for your senior season to come to DME Academy. Why'd you want to move on from overtime elite and go over there?
I wanted to come back home and be able to spend this last year with my
Mm,
sister and my brother.
I like that.
That was really the reason why. Just because, like I said before, like once I get to college, my time's gonna get cut short. Once I get to the pros, my time's gonna even get cut even shorter.
Right.
So, just being able to try to make every single event,
Mm-hmm.
is big for me, for them. And like I said, time is too valuable to
Mm,
be able to miss my brothers and my sisters' games because I'm constantly on the road. So I think
right.
me coming back home, me coming back into my house, being able to see my sister and brother, my mom and dad every single day, definitely was a blessing in disguise, and I think it was very much needed because those past 2 years I was gone
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't able to make none of my brothers and my sisters tournaments. So that was big for me, and pretty much that sums it up.
That's a huge thing because, I've talked to so many different people before, and that's a very rare thing to see someone at your age have the priorities balanced out right. Because so many people, you're focused, and rightfully so. You're in your high school, you want to accomplish what you want to accomplish, you're focused on yourself, but you seem to have an outward look kind of projection on everything. You say, okay, you know what? I know what my goals are. I know what the future could be in and obviously in college, MBA. What kind of instilled that in you, and how did you become someone that really understood these balances and to prioritize your family the way that you do?
My parents,
I love
my
it.
parents, they just helped me with a lot and has set the table for me and just laid out everything on the table. Hey, we have to balance this out with seeing your brothers and sisters games or tournaments. All right,
Mhm.
you're gonna be at this event. All right, we need your brother and sister. We're all gonna go watch you, but next weekend my sister plays. I have to be there.
Mm.
So they just put everything on the table and just help me balance everything and out. And I can't thank them enough for it because I'll probably be moving everywhere and not making my sisters and brothers game like I wanted to or I
Mhm.
want to. And yeah, it's them too. My parents, my mom and my dad definitely helped me out in that aspect.
Well, let's head into the senior year because has to have been a struggle year for yourself. You talk about just what you've experienced in the past, a little bit over a year now, representing Team USA, U18 in the America Cup. Then you obviously talk about going into the senior year. You were phenomenal this year. You were McDonald's All American, always have accolades and awards. How special has the past year been for yourself?
This year has been very special,
Hmm.
and I wanted to get a grind session championship out of it. Unfortunately, I didn't.
Right.
But we brought DME Academy its first state championship.
Hmm.
So I think that was big for the school. And obviously, the accolades is cool and stuff. But like I said, I see the bigger picture.
Right.
And being able to go to DME Academy this year helped me a lot, especially with my confidence. Coach Matt, Coach Boo, Coach Ant, Coach Pete, my dad, um, they just instilled that confidence in me, and wanted me to be free-minded and just take this team by the lead.
Hmm.
So I think I was able to step in that leader aspect and take a bigger part or a bigger role of a team. Because
Hmm.
the past 3 years I kind of took the seat back, and this year this team needed me to be that leader
Hmm.
of this group this year. So I think I definitely stepped up in that aspect.
That's a huge component because you talk about the leadership aspect. Obviously, you're going to go into college. You'll be a freshman. Obviously, going to be seeing your leadership overall. But at the end of the day, we do know your expectation will be to be one of those guys next season on the team. How much do you think this kind of taking on that leadership role from a vocal and obviously as an example on the style and play, have you grown in over the past year to get you ready now for college?
It's just me studying, watching every single game that they had last year and see how I can fit in within the system. Obviously, I'm gonna go through that with my coaches.
Hmm.
But the preparation started right after the season ended, you know,
Hmm.
and every single workout we try to implement what we're gonna do, possibly when I get to Louisville. um, and just constantly talking. I'm always playing pickup. I've played a lot of pickup with some of the college guys and some of the pros, and just picking their brain and asking questions. I think that will definitely help as I go into the campus.
All right, so I have to ask you this question though. Out of everything you've experienced over the past year, year and a half, what has been your favorite memory as a basketball player? Whether that McDonald's All American, Team USA, all those things. What's your favorite memory?
I think my favorite memory, I would say my 52-point game, but I'm
All
not gonna
right.
say that. I'll say McDonald's.
Okay.
I'll say McDonald's.
As I said too, you've already been a part Team USA. You already won one gold medal. How was that experience?
That experience was great.
Yeah.
Just to be with those guys, in that atmosphere. We played Argentina first game
Hmm.
at their crib. It was a small gym,
Right.
but it
Right.
was rocking. So to be on the court and be in that environment definitely, gives me chills to this day, just because the energy in that gym was great.
Hmm.
And I'm glad we took home gold.
Now you have this opportunity. It's not official that you're on the team yet. I know some people probably think that probably could be an expectation. People probably think you will make that team, but you get this opportunity to go for U19 now. What goes through your mind when you see yourself getting another opportunity to possibly win another gold medal?
It's an opportunity that I can't turn down, and one I have to take extremely serious. Like, it's not
Hmm.
guaranteed that I'm on the team,
Right.
so I still have to come in and be that leader and be that vocal leader as a point guard to, show the coaches that I belong on the team,
Hmm.
and I will lead this team to possibly a gold medal. So definitely, I want to be able to be that lead guard on this group, and I'm definitely going to go into the camp with the confidence that I have now, and just that leadership aspect. Just me always talking, guarding, showing that I can guard, and showing that I can run a team. So I think that will carry on itself.
Love that, man. Well, let's hop into the recruiting process to get you over to Louisville because obviously I know a lot of fans are in here right now tuning in, wanting to hear about this process. And so we talk about this. You could have went pretty much anywhere in the country. You had offers from all over the place. I know Alabama's in the mix, Michigan, Auburn, Kansas, Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee. Obviously, we know where you end up going though. But walk us through this recruiting process. What was it like, and what ultimately led you to the decision for Louisville?
Um, I would say it was a tough decision because it wasn't a tough decision, but you know, everybody that reached out, I thank them for reaching out.
Hmm.
And I appreciated the opportunity that they gave me. But I just think Louisville just took it over the top. Coach PK, his energy and his positive energy that he brings to his team and to his players, I think was different from the rest in a sense. The assistant coaches, Coach Carr, Coach Cloman, Coach Ham, Coach Cassidy,
Hmm.
um, everybody, kept in touch with me, and they were all in. And I think that's what attracted me to them,
Hmm.
and the fact that they were bought in, and that's what we're big on as a family. Like, we're all in, or we're out. We're
Hmm.
not one foot in, one foot out. We're all in. If we're all in, we're all in. So I think from the get go, it wasn't a tough decision to make, just because they just believe in me. I think
Hmm.
that's the biggest thing with your head coach. the players coach too. So, watching him and how he played Fad and how he played Chucky this year and how they were playing with like the confidence was sky high.
Hmm.
So I think that's what's big for me and for my development.
Out of all those schools, like I said, you could have went anywhere. Was there a second favorite school? Like when you came down to within your inner circle and you were kind of debating, okay, Louisville and somebody else. Did you have a second option?
Everybody was the second option, honestly.
All right.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you then, as you're going through this process, then at what point in time did it kind of click for you? You said, you know what, Louisville's the school I'm going to go to. When did it click? Like, was there a certain moment that you can kind of pinpoint when that happened?
Honestly, after my second visit, I'll probably say when I went to go
Okay.
watch him play Duke,
Mm-hmm.
on my official visit. The first unofficial visit that I went to was crazy because I landed at like 12 a.m.
Mm.
and we're to the hotel. There's 30 fans outside waiting for me to come out the car, and
Wow.
I'm like, yo, at 12 a.m. in the morning, like this is crazy. So
Hmm.
just to feel the love off the rip, was different on a oh shoot, I'm sorry,
You're
on the
good.
unofficial. So, going into that official visit and watching them play Duke, like the energy in the crowd, the energy on the bench and how their teammates love each other,
Yeah.
watching them practice too, and how hard they practice and their energy. I think, after that Duke game, I was already convinced, like, I think this is home.
Now, at some point, you had to go tell the coaching staff, Coach Kelsey and the staff, that you're going to be committing to Louisville. When did you do that and tell us the story behind that?
Mm, I gotta remember the date. I don't remember the date, but that call was crazy because Coach Kelsey, I don't know if he's done it yet, but Coach Kelsey promised me that he'll do a backflip in his pool when I commit. So I'm gonna ask him about that. But that call was great. Just to hear the energy from him and how excited he
Mhm.
was definitely surreal. And like I said, I can't wait to get on campus next week.
I love that, man. Now, the other aspect I want to ask about is that in your era now, the past couple of years has been so much different, the NIL component. Obviously, that's brought into the negotiations and that's on the table, however that works out. Was that anything that factored into your recruiting process? And if so, how much so did the NIL impact it?
NIL, they really didn't impact it in a sense. It's all about how you play.
Right.
Because if you can't perform, then you shouldn't even be talking about NIL.
Good
So
point.
I think based on the fit, obviously the program, the coaching staff, um, was big for us, and it had to be a family environment. Like
Mhm.
Coach Kelsey, you know, he's big on family,
Yeah.
and that's how we are with my. That's how I am with my family. We're big on family, so
Hmm.
it was kind of cool just because Coach PK was like, "Hey, your brother could come in and help us rebound while we're practicing anytime he was up in Louisville, or your
Okay.
dad wants to come and watch and ask a couple of questions." That being able for my family to come in and watch me practice. My brother can get engaged with us, the
Hmm.
players, and you watch PK's son Johnny. He
Yeah.
on the sidelines all the time, and he's getting these dudes water. When he's in practice, he's rebounding for them. So that shows that he's a big family guy, and that's really was that that was what played into the decision.
Mhm.
That family aspect was definitely big for me and my family, and also obviously the style of play
Right.
and watching him how he let his guards go, definitely played a factor in all of it.
So, just curious too, because that's a huge component that I'm not sure if any other college does that. So, when you were talking to, let's say, Kansas, Florida, Kentucky, so on and so forth, was that family environment noticeable in any other schools? Like, do they have some shades of that, some form of family environments, or was Louisville just so far and above everybody else?
It was some shades in some schools,
Okay.
but I think, like I said, being able to have that access to talk to PK all the time, just have
Hmm.
a regular conversation, it doesn't even have to be about basketball. It was
Yeah.
really big for me and really big for my family. And then also, just the aspect of how their players and the teammates love each other. Like
Mm.
it was my unofficial visit, and after the practice, they circled up, and I walked into the huddle, and the team put their arms around me and acted like I was one of theirs.
All
So
right.
just the little things that played a difference into me, coming to that school, and coming to Louisville was definitely a big part.
All right, let's get deeper into Coach Kelsey because if we backtrack, let's go a year ago, right when he gets hired, Louisville is not in a good place overall. We know this is a program that has a very, very hungry fan base, a fan base that loves the basketball team, and a historic program, but obviously things were not in the right place. And I don't think anybody expected the turnaround to the extent in which it happened, where they're now landing guys like yourself, they're having tournament runs, they're doing all these different great things. But here we are today, and they're in this position where they have the second highest ranked commit. They're a team that's heading into next season. People are very excited for them, coming off a great year. Obviously, that comes down to Coach Kelsey and what he helped build there. So when you talk about him, how special of a coach is he, both on and off the court?
He's very special in both aspects, just because on the court he's a player's coach. He
Mm,
always tries to stay positive, and he always wants you to keep the energy at 110.
okay.
So, um, for instance, like there was this one instance that one of the players were like kind of down on themselves, and Coach PK got in him, but it was like positive. It was very
Mm,
positive, and it lifted him up, and it lifted his energy up, and he played way better for the rest of the practice. So those little things are definitely what played into a part in me coming, and then also off the court, like I said, having access just to have a regular conversation with him about anything. He said like, I could come into his office anytime. We could have any conversation that you want. So just having that access and being able to, constantly communicate with them, I think is big, especially as a point guard, because you're the head coach on the floor
right.
because you have to orchestrate everything. So you and the head coach connection has to be like this.
Hmm.
So I think that aspect was another part that played into me coming to Louisville.
I know it probably isn't a very long yes list yet, but if you think back about all the memories you've had with Coach PK so far, what's your favorite memory you've created with him?
I think definitely
Okay.
that commitment part when that phone call was amazing. That
Hmm.
phone call was amazing.
And also on that staff, like you said, you have a great coaching staff. Another guy that I know is part of the program too is Payne Silva, who obviously has an incredible career, one of the best
Hey,
all time.
babe.
What's your relationship been like him and just being able to now learn from him over the next year where you get to talk about the greatest Louisville Cardinals of all time? How big is that for you?
That is really big. I'm possibly going to be in the gym with a lot, or in the gym with him a lot, especially when my dad's not up there.
Hmm.
Um, Me and him are definitely going to have that connection. I think me being able to pick his brain on a lot of things, because he's a national champion, so
Right.
he knows what it takes. So I might ask him a lot of questions on the situational stuff that goes on within the game, and
Mhm.
little nuances that people don't really see, but that's big.
Right.
I think I'm just gonna pick his brain. I'm gonna ask him a lot of questions. So I think it'll be great for me and great for my development just to be in constant conversation with him.
When you're going through your recruiting process, just talking to him and whatever role he had in that recruiting process, what was that like? And did that influence at all, knowing that you get to learn from a guy in Payne Siva who has accomplished what he's accomplished?
He kind of wasn't in the mix, but towards the end, me and him
Okay.
started to connect more. Just because he just told me, he was like, "This is my first year too, so I'm still learning,
Right.
how to manage the coaching and his other lifestyle with his family."
Hmm.
So he was making that transition, and as he got acclimated with it, me and him started conversating more. And like I said, me just asking questions, I think was really big for me, and just being able to learn from him this whole next year,
Right.
will be great.
Well, you are just about a week away from getting on campus. How excited are you to get on campus now?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. People would say that they're nervous or anything, but I
Hmm.
think like this is this is an amazing opportunity to be able to play for this type of program and this type of coaching staff.
Hmm.
And to be able to be in this culture, we know how serious Louisville fans are about their basketball. So
Yep.
to be in that type of energy and that type of atmosphere is gonna be surreal, and I just can't wait.
That first day comes where you get a step foot in front of that fan base at home. What do you think is going to go through your mind?
Probably gonna be blanked out, and I'm just gonna be so in the zone and in the moment.
Yeah.
When we walk out that tunnel for the first game and seeing all the fans, and I can't even put it in words how excited I'm going to be.
Obviously, fans are ecstatic to have you on this team. What can they expect from you? What will you be bringing to this program?
I'm gonna bring a sense of leadership. As a
Hmm.
point guard, we have to be the leadership and the head coach on the floor,
Right.
the head of the snake. I'm definitely gonna lead this team to where it's supposed to go. And offensively, like I said, I want to create for my teammates. I want to put my teammates in the best possible position to be successful and to score and to make a play. I just want to be that X factor. I think that would be what I would tell the Louisville fans is I'm coming in to be that X factor and to be the leader of the team and lead these guys to a possible national championship.
This team has a lot of talent. Obviously, they've done an incredible job in the portal and recruiting with yourself. Obviously, there's two other freshmen coming in as of now. You have Adrian, obviously, being in from the transfer portal. Hadley's returning. Pryor's returning. Ryan Conlon was a massive pickup. Connor Roos. Isaac McNeely is a great pickup as well, and so are many other guys. When you look at the way this roster is now coming together, how excited are you to play with these guys, and how good do you think this team can be?
I'm very excited. I think we can hit levels that anybody wouldn't expect. Like I said from last year, nobody expected us to be as good as we were last year.
Yep.
So I think there's going to be a lot of doubters this year, and I think that's going to fuel us to hit that next level.
When you talk about your priorities and what your goals are for the season, whether it be personal, team, what are those goals?
First and foremost, win a national championship, bring a
All right.
national championship back to Louisville. Um, like I said, I have my own goals, but I'm focused on the team and how can we win? How
Okay.
can we win every single night, and how can we get better?
There's obviously is going to be a transition too at the point guard spot. Chucky Hepburn did an incredible job last year as a leader for the team. Now you're replacing him in a sense. Obviously, you guys are both much different players, different play styles, but still going to be that leader on the court. Talk about the transition. What's some of the similarities and also what some of the differences you believe there will be between the two of you?
Um, I don't want to compare me and him. I think me and him, like I said, we are our own players.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's a lot of similarities, just like with the pace that he plays at. And I actually, I hope that he's in Louisville for a little bit, so I
Hmm.
could learn from him as far as defensively, because his instincts on the defensive end is crazy.
Right.
So I just want to learn and pick his brain on some things, and being able to take a part of his game and implement it into mine, especially defensively.
I love that, man. Well, I got a few more things before I let you go. One of which is there's obviously could be another addition or two added on this team. We know that the news came out just a little bit ago about Ali Khalifa, who obviously that was quite interesting why they're not going to let him play next year. But when you talk about that, from what you know, talking to the coaching staff, is this team almost put together, or could there be another guy or two added on to this roster?
The coaching staff, we don't really talk about it as
Okay.
much. We just try to focus on what's in front of us, and we just try to stay present and control what we can control. Um, we'll get into that later, but as of
Hmm.
now, we're just focusing on when we get on campus and we get to right to work. So I think that's the biggest thing for us, and that's what I've been talking about with the coaching staff is just getting prepared. Like the when we step on campus, we got to get to it. So that's really been the focus.
In the back of your mind, I'm sure that you know that you want to go get drafted in 2026 NBA draft. We already talked about. Obviously, you want to be an NBA prospect and all those things. When you talk about trying to balance that, and you said keep the team first, obviously try to go win games, win a national championship, maybe even this year, and still know that you want to perform and be able to make the NBA in the future. How do you balance that?
I don't think it's really that hard
Okay.
because when you win, good things come your way.
Yep.
So I don't really think it's that hard to balance all of that stuff out. As long as you do your part and you win,
Hmm.
everything will come to you.
When you talk about this season and obviously all the games on the table that you could possibly go play against, some non-conference have been announced, but obviously no in conference. Is there one game you have circled on your calendar, and if so, what game is it?
All of them.
I love it, man.
All of them. Every single one.
I love that, man. Well, I got one final question for you. It's the question I like wrapping up every single interview with, and that's talking about your legacy. One day it's going to come to a point where you step away from basketball, and at least even in a year, you'll step away possibly even from Louisville. When you do step away from those, what do you want your legacy to be for what you've accomplished both on and off the court?
Just want to put my imprint in the community. I think that's the biggest thing is to be able to give back to the kids,
Hmm.
and give what the older people in my life gave to me and gave it to them. I think that's the biggest thing. And like I said, just leaving my imprint as one of the best Louisville Cardinals to come out of that school and one of the best teams. I want this team to be the best team to come out of Louisville.
I love that answer, man. Well, I appreciate you once again for coming on the show. I cannot wait to see what God's got in store for you, man, both in the summer and obviously next season and going forward.
Thank you.
Of
Thank you for
course.
having me.
Of course. You're always welcome on, man. God bless.
God bless. Thank you.